So here we are, we're looking at a Troy-built 110, and we've had a couple of problems that have gone on, and this has been a great mower, by the way. It's only had to have some things done one other time. We've replaced the air intake, so that's something you want to do. Don't go as long as I did and let it get all, like all messed up. So, we got a good, that's just like, like us, we don't want to breathe a bunch of yucky air. And there's your little seal, and that keeps that lets the engine get air because it has to breathe just like we do, and it needs that oxygen to fire against the plug mechanism to cause the little mini explosions, and that does get dirty over time. And so, by the way, this it's a little bit dark here, but you stick the two little feet down in the bottom and then bring the top over this little tab here, like so. And that was about $7 or $8 for the air filter. There's little things you can do along the way, a fuel filter, that kind of thing. Here's your top cranking mechanism, and I know somebody's going to correct me on that, but this part here is what turns to crank the mower. So anyway, about $7 or so for that air filter, and then about the time that went out, we've had this mower for over 10 years, so this is really the first major stuff we've had to do. The safety shutoff cable. So you've got this little tab right here that holds the cable sheet from slipping forward when you pull the safety lever down. And so this little tab had broke off. Now this particular safety cable was $8.99 on like Amazon. And they got them at some of the other big box stores, but pretty easy fix. I've kind of backed this one up a little bit, just some electrical tape, but main thing is you want your tie wraps. So I've got a tie wrap here, and then I've got another tie wrap about midway down on the TB110. There's a little hole there, so I just went through that and lightly attached the outer part of that safety cable just to hold it in place. And I will tell you, after having the mower, never changing that out, it is easy. I can take one finger or thumb and close that and open it now. Noah, if you'll hold that, I'm going to show how this comes off. So it's pretty easy. So here's your safety bar, and you're going to have to pull against it. You may have to give it a little force, and that just slips right off. So you can see how it kind of curves. So to take the old one off, that would be the same way. You can pull both of these inward and take that out and take it out all together. But I find as long as you're aware and you don't overdo it, you can push down on this and then take that little tab, work with it a little bit, and there you go. It's good to go. It'll stay. And then, of course, you want to thread this up through the little loop right here. There's a little loop right here. So thread the new cable right up through there. There's your little hold latch. Keeps it from all coming forward. Bring your cable up and do what we did there. Hook that together. Now down here, you'll see how that's engaging and disengaging. So this is pulled back and forward, back and forward. And the mower's not going to crank until it's back like that. Because remember, it's got to be engaged to crank and run. The whole point of this is if you run over your foot or you fall backwards, you want the mower to shut off. Now this part here, you'll just need some needle nose pliers. And it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you this. Noah, hold that right there. And I'm going to get these needle nose pliers wherever I put them. You guys know how that is. Right there. All right. All right, so on here, this was something I had a little question about. And if you've got a 10-speed bicycle, a lot of you, it had just been a long time since I had done anything. But the way it fits in that little area is you've got these little pinch tabs, and so you just squeeze these in with the needle nose. You'll get the feel of it right there. You squeeze those in, and once you press those together, you can just pull that right out of the bracket. Now, to do the new one, it's already got the front on it that's smaller. You'll just thread that straight. So if this is your bracket, you just find that hole and shove it right through till it clicks. And it'll click in place like that right there. And then right here, same thing as a safety handle. That's your little part that you hook in. And we'll show that again. So right there's the latch, and that's a great shot of it. So you've got this little metal latch right here, this little frame right there. But there's a hole, and this part here will pinch together. You can just push it right through, and it'll click in place. And see, that's not going to go anywhere. It's in place. And then here's your other little tab, and you feed that right up through there, and it hooks over that way, and that's what keeps your safety valve engaged. All right, now also we went ahead and did this too. So you pull the rope, so you've got this top up here, you know, on the mower, and you pull this rope, and absolutely nothing happens. You can feel the rope just turning. You know, you can tell nothing's grabbing a hold of the main part of the mower underneath and cranking it. And that's because these little teeth are missing off of the inner part of this section right here. There's little dogs. I think some people call them dogs, but they actually expand out to make contact. You can see where mine were, and they're out in the yard somewhere lost. But here is the end result. So you can get this for about 15, some 20. That's the whole top assembly with a new rope. You can tell my rope was already retied, so I think, you know, you could get like this individual part for $7 plus tax. But I thought, well, you know, for $14 or $15, let's just get a whole new top, get a new rope, new pull line, assembly, the whole thing. And this just snaps in to the top of your mower. And here's the new one. Believe it or not, looks a lot better, but that one's about 10 years old. Now, you'll see these little tabs right here. These just shove outward, and then you drop that in, and it'll click right in place. It was really easy. It's a little bit tougher getting it out than it is pushing it in, but these tabs you can use like a flathead, and you just pull back on these. Needle nose, you can do that. And this TB110, this assembly, if you're real easy, you can clamp one side of the pliers here and a side here and push together, and that will pull that back where it'll drop down in there. And then you just want to, you know, push down on it good till these snap it in place. Here's the end result. Beautiful. So it's like brand new now. We got a nice new pull rope right there. It does real nicely, and most importantly, the whole reason really, other than the rope wearing out and so forth, to replace this is those little teeth, if you will, when I go to pull this, see the little teeth come out? I think some of the guys calls them dogs right there. And that's what catches the top of the mower when you go to pull the rope. So I'm going to pull out on the rope, slow motion, those little shark fin looking things. That's evidently what catches this top assembly. And you can see these notches right here, here, and here. And those catch against that and turn it. And with a good pull, gets that lawnmower going. So another point too on these TB110s or any lawnmower is if you get bogged down in the grass and you go to re-crank the mower, I would recommend moving it over. And this may sound elementary, but sometimes we don't always do it. But move it over at least to a thinner area of grass, engage the mower, and then pull the crank rope. But don't pull too hard, because in this case, I think somebody might have gotten a bit frustrated. The mower had bogged down, they're ready to get done, so they pulled really hard on the pull rope. And remember, these, while they've held up for many, many years, the little teeth, they are made of a real thick, you know, we could say solid plastic. Probably used to be made with metal, but you know, it is what it is. But either way, we've gotten a lot of years of use out of this Troy-built 110 over the years, and it's done a really good job. So where I'm going to go from here is I'm going to kind of wipe all this down while I've got the top off of it, and really look at this. And this has not always been kept inside like a garage, but that paint has held up really good. But like, we can kind of blow this off. You know, you could wipe that down with maybe a little bit of Armor All or some motor oil. It'll clean it up and shine it. Kind of wipe down all of this here, because remember, that'll keep the air vent cleaner. And you know, we could take a shop vac, maybe vacuum some of that out. Just be careful and don't bump your accelerator, because that's what that is, by the way. If you wanted to speed up or slow down, there's your accelerator. And if you'll remember, used to, they had you a little lever out here that you could adjust that. I don't like that it doesn't, because, you know, let's say you're going into an area where there's rocks, or there could be rocks. It was really nice in the good old days to have that lever where you could just bring the engine speed way down and go slow and carefully. But this is a one-speed thing, so it's either off or on. But it does look like they've got a little notch right there, where maybe some of the previous models had that lever, or maybe different models use that, and the lever catches on there where you can, you know, you can speed it up or slow it down. But not too bad. I've never replaced the spark plug on this. That may be something to consider. But you know, just kind of cleaning it up, wiping it down. We've already got it apart on top. Why not? Got a new air vent. I would guess that with the new safety cable that had never been replaced, the new air intake, and the new dogs and catch assembly, that this could go for several more years. You know, the tires are in pretty good shape. Some of the little plastic things on the, or the rubber things there, are missing, like right here. But again, I'm sure that could be ordered for just a few dollars, you know, if you really wanted to get fancy. And it's a safety thing. If somebody was to step down on that, that could hurt a foot with a shoe on or without. This was bent just a little bit. This was probably just where it was bumped. This is your exhaust pipe. And so what I did is just carefully bent this frame back inward. Doesn't seem to affect how it runs. And so there you go. All right, we're just going to kind of give it a good clean up, and we're going to hope to go many more years. So guys, if you're interested or you're trying to replace these, this is a 51-inch long safety cable. They make them in different sizes. Amazon and some of the Walmart, some of the big box stores recommended the size, and I must say it fit just right. My old cable is 51 inches. This was 51 inches, and it fits perfectly. But some of you, depending on the model of your mower, there's like a 54 inch. There's like, you know, some slightly different lengths. It's not completely critical, because if it is a little bit longer, you just have more kind of hanging off the side here. So, you know, try to look at that, get the right length, and the best way is to measure from here where it meets its end to end on the actual cable. Measure from the tip of that end of that cable and come around. Now, I didn't at the time actually have my old cable off, but I brought my measuring tape down to right in here, and I made a little mark and brought my measuring tape from here on around here and kind of bent my tape around with that curve, and it was right at around 51. So I knew without taking it loose that it was right at the 51 inches mark. All right, guys, thanks again. If you have any questions, just leave them at the bottom of the screen, and I will put the link in to where I got my top assembly for the mower, as well as the safety cable, and any other things that I can think of that might be helpful for you. Take care, everybody.